Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos.
Switch back.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I bought this I was like, I'm going to have to be like official, have a little.
Aw, you didn't have to do that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and you hit record. Perfect. All right, so today we are meeting with Lorraine Danielson. She is a fellow real agent you're North Atlanta, right?
I am.
where
I'm
you're
north of
from.
Atlanta. Yes. And we are Dallas, Georgia, which
Okay.
most people get confused about.
Well, we have a Dallas, North Carolina, so I totally understand. And you are the queen of SEO. Like, I'm just going to, nail it. You are working it. You are making it work for your business. So we wanted to talk to you today about SEO and how you do that. But first, can you tell us a little bit, how did you get into real estate? And then we'll go into the SEO stuff. Like, what was your journey to getting into real estate?
I actually did lending for 12 years.
Oh, I didn't know
did
that.
SBA. Yeah, I processed SBA loans, and then I moved to Atlanta and went on the residential side, and I ran a brokerage. So I did that for 12 years. So when I was processing loans, so I saw, thousands, right? And I had that knowledge. And then I got very fortunate before the crash. My husband and I made a decision that I was going to stay home. I got pregnant with my daughter and got to stay home with my babies, right? But then when I wanted to get back, I went on to be a real estate agent. And I always thought when I did loans that agents made all this money and they were a little whiny. And now I know why.
Right.
I'm like, oh, now I know.
But
But
you it from both sides.
No, but it did give me an amazing background to understand like this huge aspect of every piece of what it's like to help somebody. And I feel like there's times where that's really saved deals for me because I know how to, really structure a deal or dig into guidelines still. I was old school matrix, where you had like a sheet and you had to make sure everything lined up. And we did have automated underwriting back then, but I'm going to date myself a little bit. We still faxed our deals, our big old lending packages to the, lender.
I worked as a legal assistant in 07, 08 as the crash was starting. And yeah, we faxed everything. We had a typewriter that had like those 3-layer papers so you could make 3 copies at once. Yep. And you're like, ah. Yes, they were awful. And everything, so this is how far I've come. Everything in that office was in DOS because the attorney built it himself and he refused to upgrade. And in DOS, Brenna, because you're a baby, you were still probably not even in middle school at this point. You couldn't take the cursor and move it back and delete something or highlight and delete. You had to delete, 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 delete. So if you ever watch me type, it is one habit I have not delete, 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 delete. I still do it because of DOS. I can't break it. But so I feel your pain. Yeah, it was way different back then. Way different.
Is so funny because here we are today about to talk about SEO and Google optimization and automized things and showing up without having to physically show up. So we've come a long way since then.
It really has. And I think people think showing up is super complicated, and it used to be. I mean, I have friends that paid agencies a ton of money. This used to even, I think, not to be possible almost a little bit. And we think sometimes the big giants like in real estate, Zillow and Realtor, they're always going to beat us. And they don't actually have to. There are ways you can get around it. And that was something that I think we all have that limiting belief sometimes. But then somebody shows you something and you're like, oh my gosh, I can go do this. I can actually rank. So that's one of the things that I hope today people take away from this is that I'm not like, I don't have a degree in this. I'm just a real estate agent, right? But I have a lot of referral business, and I love how they like and trust me already. And when they come to you, they're not suspicious of you. They're not just clicking on something and then ghosting you. They're actually people who want to work with you. And I wanted that next step, somebody like that. And that's what the SEO has done for me.
I love that. And we were talking offline. You've taken this SEO so far and so successfully that you've actually turned customers away because it's not right. And we all have. Hey, we've all been there. We've all said, I have one I was supposed to meet last night, and it got rescheduled to this weekend, but I'm probably going to turn them down because they're not realistic. So let's take it back. What is SEO for someone who's never optimized anything? Give us the simple, everyone can understand, what is SEO in plain English.
So when somebody goes out on the internet, and I pulled some stats before this to make sure. So 86% of people Google. We all say that. It's a household name. Go Google that, right? Well, now a lot of people are using like ChatGPT or Perplexity or all these different systems. But at the end of the day, most people still Google. Most people are not, even though we live in an AI world at our brokerage a lot, and I use chat all the time. Or, Google's version. What I would say is everybody Googles, right? And you're looking for a service, you're looking for a product. You want to know how to make something, whatever you're doing, we Google it. And so whatever it serves up first is usually, nobody goes 10 pages in, right? Mm-mm. We always look at that first piece. And that's really what SEO is. Who is being served up to you that meets that thing you Googled, you searched, and really that's SEO. And we, sometimes we dig deeper, but the vast majority of people don't. So how are you the first or second or third person, somebody, because most people won't go past 3 people. They just won't. So you want to be found. And so in real estate, really, it's how, if somebody's looking to list their home, they're looking to buy a home, they want information on a neighborhood, how are they finding you versus thousands of other agents in my market?
Right. And that's super important. So I know for us, like for solo agents, like we don't have that team presence or the budget or, the Mark Spain type of money to have 8 billboards down the highway. And this is something that we can do somewhat organically and at low cost. So in your opinion, like, why for you is it so important for us, instead of relying, like so many people are relying on Instagram and Zillow? And I know part of this answer because, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Instagram's now searchable. It's going to feed, like TikTok has been in Google. You can search TikToks in Google, but now Instagram's going to be there. So why is it like, yeah, what's your opinion?
So probably about 3-4 months ago, I noticed a couple shifts. There had been what was called like an AI overview that had come into play. We went to Rev B, and anybody doesn't know, it's real estate video blueprint. And I'm there with all these video people. And of course I do video. But everybody was like, how do you get business? Like that behind the scenes at dinner. And I said, well, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. And I made everybody search something different on their phones. And I started realizing, and we were in Texas, and, I'm like, can I still show up? Right? Not being hyper local. And everybody was like, okay, you got to tell us how you're doing this. Well, all of a sudden on their phones, I noticed there was that AI overview had also shifted one to an AI mode and then short videos. And I clicked on the short video because it used to be long videos, which were long format, which is YouTube, right? Horizontal, 5 to 30 minutes, right? That's a lot of content. If you ever try to do YouTube, it'll make you cry. I mean, it's a whole nother beast. It's amazing. And it's part of SEO in a way. But that short form, which a lot of us are doing, showed up. But what I found is some of my content that wasn't even necessarily about Dallas, where I niche down, was showing up because I'm tagged that way. My profile says Dallas, Georgia Realtor. That's very searchable, and there's only one field that's searchable. But those videos now, and then obviously any content I had made out here. So if agents are creating content, they need to, it's a real easy strategy. And I actually have my marketing person that helps me with my videos work on it. It's as simple as, if you're thinking of buying a home in Dallas, Georgia, you might want to consider this neighborhood. And that's on your video. That's in your description, using your city name. Obviously that what do you do? Even if you're not a real estate agent, you want to do this, you could create that content for your restaurant, your business, whatever it is. And then I've noticed too, some of the ones that I collaborated with somebody locally were doing very, very well. So that is just another piece when you're creating something. You kind of got to look at it as all these little building blocks, right? Like if I have a Google My Business page, if I have my website, if I do Instagram, if I do YouTube, whatever you're doing, you have to stop all the noise, what's trending, what's popular. Not saying you can't make cute videos. I'm not saying that. But being very targeted in that every week, some of your content has to talk about where you work, right? Where do you work? Who are you? And what services do you provide for that area? And even if I'm talking about me staging a home, I have to mention where I do business, right? It's using that, and it's working smarter, not harder. I have a lot of agents that go, well, how many leads do you get? Well, here's the difference. They call me and want to work with me. I'm not getting 20 leads a day of people who just clicked on a pretty house and they don't know if they're on my site or Zillow or where. It's somebody who calls me. They usually call me. They might send an email or a text, but if I get an email from them, they're like, hey, I need to list my house and here's XYZ.
Right.
I'm not interviewing. I'm not noise to them. They want to work with me.
They've already made that decision, which is makes such a huge difference. You go from chasing the business to just like you said, like choosing the business.
Choosing the business, and they come to me. And I will tell you, we've had a market shift that's been hard, right? And this is business where a lot of mine lately have been a realtor, unfortunately, fail on the other side. They listed, and that agent did not prep them properly. They didn't prep their home. They didn't price them appropriately. And they've been on the market 6 to 8 months. And I've done 3 of those this year alone, where another agent, unfortunately, it's hard conversations having to have that conversation, and they didn't have it up front. And it was a painful 6 to 8 months for them every week, I'm sure. And sometimes being the second agent, we all know, is where they'll actually either listen or they just never were advised. And so every single one of those I sold. I hate this, and this is crazy. We know this market's nuts. I sold every single one of those in under 2 weeks, those 3. Only because we took it, we did a reevaluation and came back on market appropriately.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that's hard right now. We all know that houses are sitting, but I do all that work. I have vendors, I do staging, I help them prep, and that's the difference. And that's that agent piece. That's what I market on my SEO. If you're looking for someone who's going to tell you, one, the truth. And I literally in my bio out there says, I might say something you probably may not love, right? But you're going to love when your house sells, right? I mean, that's the
Exactly.
difference. I always say it with love. I mean, like we all love our pets, but sometimes other people don't, right? I mean, that's just a conversation we got to have. Pricing, knowing the market and numbers. I'm a numbers girl. But I've been able to do that with my SEO. Like I talk about my marketing. Like they don't come to me thinking I'm not doing all that. They already know I have a plan I'm going to put in place with you. I market all of that and that, but I also do high level marketing. I do professional photos. We do staging for them. Um, I do lifestyle video where it shows how your house lives. And it doesn't have to be fancy. I did grandma's house recently. Very simple home, not a lot of upgrades. But grandma's house is solid, right? Sometimes grandma's house is the best house. But they knew that coming in when they hired me, and they knew that I was local. I would check on the property. I don't live an hour and a half away. That I'm going to take care of them, and I know my market, and I did that all through SEO. Like I said, they're going to come to me.
And that's amazing because, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what is the biggest difference that you see between SEO for your website and Google My Business? Because I feel like sometimes people get those like intertwined, and really they are very different, optimizing your website for SEO and showing up with just your Google business profile.
So Google My Business is more of, think of it like an ad. And I don't think, and people highly neglect it. They just put out like, this is my business location. They try to get some reviews, and that's about it. But really what that is it's a billboard for you. And you have to constantly, just like with anything else, if you've got an Instagram or whatever, and you're not posting on it all the time, nobody's finding you. So the Google My Business is going to have where you need to build out what services you provide. A lot of agents say, oh, I'm a relocation specialist, but they don't say in what city. It needs to say relocation specialist in Dallas, Georgia. You know what I mean? Like, they don't do that. They also don't post. So you have to constantly post on there with a photo of somebody moving into a house with boxes. This is Canva. This is not like hard. You got to have a ton of images. Super easy to go in there, but it's got it because it reads the photos, right? It looks at what you're doing. And then it's like, if you're looking to move to Dallas, Georgia, and then it's just little short post, but that is how it finds you. And then it finds you two different ways: by the content, it reads reviews. It looks for all that. And then the second way it finds you is if you actually have a location in there and your location shows up when people type in best real estate agent or realtor near me. So it's like an ad in a way, but it's free. It's completely free. It's time. I use a tool called Publer, and it's for the whole year. I think it's something like $6-7 a month, but it will auto post. So you can sit down and schedule all those posts out, and you need to do at least, I'd say, one a day. But I mean, like I said, go to Chat. It'll give you 100 things that is like different combinations of moving to your area. And you can post them and grab pictures. It's super easy. Even if you did 3 or 4 a week, if nobody else is doing it in your area and you're really targeted, you'll rank.
And you're saying, when you say post, you're saying post to your social media or post to your actual Google My Business
page? You can actually post on it.
So it has a thing to realize I exist.
It's called an update. That's why nobody thinks of it as posting, but it's called an update. And so it's literally keyword driven, right? It's not sexy or clever. It's if you're looking to move to Dallas, Georgia, looking to move to my county, Paulding County, if you're looking to relocate, you know what I mean? If you're looking to list your home, like, you're going to use those keywords. It's not, and it's not hard. That's where, but I find most agents have no clue to do this. Zero clue. Nobody teaches you this, right?
I had no idea I could post to my Google My Business. No idea.
Stop it. You didn't have any clue?
Well, mine won't even show up right now because it says I have to put in an address, and I don't want to put my personal. And even though I followed what Lorraine said and took my address out, it's still asking for an address. So I've got to get mine fixed because I'm like, I don't want people showing up at my house. And when I put in our Charlotte office, it wants you to like take a video and prove it's our office. It's a co-working space, so it's not going to work.
It doesn't like that.
No.
Yeah, they've gotten really strict with that with the realtors. I've had a couple girlfriends that have gotten around they don't show up their address. So the near me is probably not going to show up for you, but
Right.
at least the other stuff will, and you can still rank.
That's what I need to try and do is like, because you still have to, I can put my address and click not for it to be public. And then I guess I need to do a video of like my front door to show the house number and then walk into my office to show this is an office.
Go on Amazon and get a little plaque, and then it has your office on it.
Right. Just say office.
This is how we're
mean?
hijacking the SEO these days. It's just
Right.
Amazon that placard.
We'll get that off this little thing. Yeah, but I'll help you.
Oh my goodness.
And then a website, though, is totally different. So mine, I do real estate, obviously, out of Dallas, Georgia. I'm north of Atlanta. There's Paulding, Cobb, I do Cherokee. We do other counties. But to really optimize, trying to rank for the term Atlanta or Northwest Atlanta, you know what I mean, or any of that, it's not going to happen. So I made the decision, and I owe this to, believe it or not, Patrick Ferry, who is Tom Ferry's brother. I got to speak on stage one time at the Sierra Interactive Summit that they had, and I thought they couldn't get anybody to go. It was the first year, and I thought, why are they asking me? And I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And turns out they got other people to speak. And I was actually right behind Patrick Ferry. And I thought, oh my gosh, do they hate me? Like, why would you ever put me behind Patrick Ferry? He talks in front of all these people all the time, right? One of the Ferry brothers is pretty intimidating, but Patrick's super nice. And I got to have dinner with him. And I would tell anybody, if you get that opportunity, go. Don't let being on a stage scare you. And that's who actually talked to me about it. And he opened up and told me I need to be doing YouTube. And at that time, this was in 2020. And I didn't do any video back then. 0. And I was like, you want me to make these long videos? And he said I needed to niche my website down and my Google My Business. And 3 days later, when we came back, we were in lockdown. And the market was insane and I didn't have to do things, but it was in my head. And as I started seeing shifting, and I went back in 22, and these agents out in California and on the coast out there, and the West Coast, were already renovating and doing all this work, I could see it coming. So I made changes for me. I moved to real. I was strategic. I shifted into heavy for the SEO. And then that's when I stripped my website down. So my website is all about Dallas and Georgia and Paulding County. It's neighborhoods. It's education. It's anything you would look up. Is it a good place to live? Is it a safe place to live? People look up that stuff. That's what we look at when we want to move somewhere. We're research heavy. So if you research it, that's what I do. And then I blog. So the main tabs are education, parks, you know what I mean? Things to do, all that kind of stuff, lifestyle. And then my blogs are market updates, and then really anything you want to know. And I will tell you, the new AI mode that came out and the overview, it will tell you. So if you type in list my Dallas, Georgia home, I will come up, right? And I won't ever beat an ad. You can't beat an ad. Somebody paying, they will be there. And then I beat out Zillow and Realtor and all that for list or sell my Dallas, Georgia home. And what I did is when you type that in your area, where do you live, Alyssa? What's your main
Gastonia.
city? Okay. So if you're marketing that, and you go to Gastonia and you want to type in list my Gastonian home, right? And you type that in, then it's going to you got to make sure that AI comes up because it does it every time. But when it does, it's going to say things like how to sell your home, right? When you list it, it's going to talk about staging. Take that actual sentence, because that's what Google says is important. Put it in ChatGPT and say, I need a blog that's detailed about staging your home. So I wrote an overall one that was like my main listing page has all those things it thinks is important. Staging it, curb appeal, marketing it, all these things, right? Pets, anything it thought. I wrote one big long page that's on my main list, so it covers everything. And then I wrote a blog about each separate one. And then they hyperlink, I connect them back to each other. And so now when you go into list my Dallas, Georgia home and you click every single little link, those little links that pull up about, it's me.
That's awesome.
And that's simple, right? I'm not a guru. I am just, if it thinks it's important on Google, I wrote a blog about it. And we continue to do that. I mean, it's kind of like on social media in a way where, now this it is evergreen, right? So let's talk about evergreen versus something that goes away. We know on Instagram, after about 7 days, you're not getting pushed out. And you know what I mean? That algorithm, TikTok, all that, it's got a short lifespan. Evergreen content is YouTube, your blog, your Google My Business. That's why I love it, because I'm not always churning content. I don't have to do something 5 times today, right? I can create it and I'm still going to rank for it. I have stuff I ranked for from 2 years ago on there. But I will tell you, you still have to add content to it. So I might do an update on staging, right? And do another blog and hyperlink it. As something new pops up, if I go on there and it's showing 3 different websites as an example of, somebody you go to, and all of a sudden somebody else is ranking on that term, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make an adjustment and do a new blog. I'm going to push them out. I mean, that's how targeted this is. Like the other day, I'm like, I don't know who you are, but boom, you're going away. And now I really had focused on listings, right? Like that was something that was easier to rank because people don't buy those keywords quite the same. You know what I mean? And it was easier. It still took me time and it's work. It's just easier than homes for sale in Dallas, Georgia. But that's been my new project. And I have started ranking in the AI. And literally, if you go in that AI mode, it will recommend me, my team name. It says if you're looking. So that's been like a win lately. Now, on the main page, there's so much ads that get bought for homes for sale, right? That's the number one thing everybody buys if you buy a Google pay-per-click ad. And I will tell you, I used to buy those. But what I found is Zillow and Realtor started buying them. They didn't used to buy them. They used to rank organically. But now in my area, they buy that lead. And I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like that's rough. Or the Mark Spains or, you know what I mean? Those companies. So trying to outrank a giant that has an ad budget you're never going to compete with, it just wasn't my thing. You know what I mean? I just felt like, and then this is time. People always go, what's the money investment? It's either time. I outsource it now. I have a girlfriend who was a head librarian for a whole county, and she does my blogs for me, and I was able to teach her how to do them. And we really just open up that AI overview and we go, okay, what is somebody Googling? That's all it is. What does somebody want to know? And how can you be the agent it recommends?
I've started using AI this week for my social media content. I worked with another agent to build a GPT that will fetch me the information. And it doesn't, this person takes it so far as like, they use AI to make the whole video. And I was like, no, I still want it to be, because like to the point where like, it's AI of him. And it's mind blowing. And I might get, I was like, it's awesome. It's awesome. But I was like, I think to start, I wasn't ready to take that step. But he built this GPT and I'm helping like beta test it to make sure there's no like breaks in it. And it gives me all the headlines to talk about. So I did my first one yesterday. There's an ice cream shop coming because that's one of my biggest hurdles in this is like, I don't know what people want to know, or I don't have time to search the news or to search, okay, what are people talking? I know there's websites like I can't even think of the name of it. Always want to call it, what are people asking Google? That you can say, here's what's being asked. But this is like, I just put in fetch. So I can't wait to layer this with what you're talking about today, to like put that ice cream video in my Google My Business so that it's pushing, like when people are searching ice cream shops, it may also pull me to say.
It will.
Yeah.
And if it's on your Instagram now, the shorts are huge. Or you got to be mindful it's only 60 seconds, not 90, because we get caught up in that in Instagram. And I'm slow and Southern, and 60 seconds sometimes is, I'm like, I really wish YouTube was 90 seconds on the shorts. But anyway, especially like my listing videos are 90 because I'm doing the storytelling. But those are, the shorts will pull up, put it in those places. But it is that local content. And then if you're going to do YouTube, let's talk about SEO there, right? I have one for Dallas, and then I have a separate one for my listing videos because sometimes those are out of it. You need to be very strategic that you stay one topic if you're going to do YouTube. It's not like Instagram where I can show my listing video, I can show some marketing, I can show hyperlocal. You know what I mean? YouTube's got to be very strategic. It confuses the algorithm over there. But Google likes you to play in their tools. So let's talk about that. Google owns Google My Business, obviously, and it's 86%. So everybody's like, what about Bing? What about something else? I don't worry about those. If I show up there, it's great, but the vast majority for my time are on Google. So that's where I'm focusing. There's been some talk because, Google has its own, other than chat. I do find I will write it in both, and so they keep that in mind. They like you in their tools. And that's the same thing with YouTube. They own it. They love it. So if you're looking for something where either the shorts or you have the mindset for the long form, I know agents that all their business comes from YouTube. And they drive them back to their website that's hyperlocal. And I have I started the journey on it, and I rank for like pros and cons. That's one of the biggest things everybody looks for. I don't have a ton of videos on there, but I get calls from it too. And you think, oh my gosh, that's boring content, right? Somebody that sits there and watches a 10-minute, a 30-minute video, they want to know about the area. And it's not even like if you're starting that journey too, you don't have to be high tech. People want to see what a neighborhood looks like. They want to see driving in it. Like I had this guy that was going to help me film, and he's like, well, it's really hard to get it when there's no cars on the street. I'm like, this is not like for a listing shoot where we move the cars.
Right. Those
cars are going to be on the street. I'd be really ticked off if I wanted to move to a neighborhood and then I get there and everybody's parking on the street.
Right.
Absolutely.
He's like, well, the weather's not amazing today. It's not sunny. It's not going to be sunny every day. Like I started watching this guy in Seattle, and the guy is driving in his car, got a GoPro out, and it's raining. And he's like, guys, in the video, he's like, it's probably going to be raining a good portion of the time you live here. That's what people want to see. They want to really see what this looks like. They want to know, like here, when the market crashed, we had neighborhoods in Dallas that people stopped building. So now some of our neighborhoods that, construction got picked back up, you could have 4-5 different builders in there. So that neighborhood is a hot mix of like every kind of building style you can talk about in there. And the original ones might all be big brick, right? Big brick houses and all this. And then you got some craftsman farmhouse going in. Then you might have like a weird 55 plus in the back with these little cottages, but it's not 55 plus. And they're like 0.2, and the first ones in the front all have an acre. Like it's weird.
Crazy. Yeah.
That's what somebody wants to know, right? And that's not sexy. It's not fast clips. It's just information.
Well,
and that's what will make you rank.
Right. I feel like people get confused sometimes with like, oh, it's not going viral. I don't have 47 million views or even 4,700 views on this video, but that's not necessarily the point with this. We're trying to
Nope.
get you business that's ready now, not people that are just doom scrolling through Instagram and TikTok, but actually people that are in the market or potentially getting into the market to get you some business. So back to the Google My Business profile, you gave us some great tips of as far as posting how often. I know you mentioned once a day, which seems like both Alyssa and our eyeballs were like, oh
I
no,
know. I was like, another thing every
I was
day.
like,
But
oh,
I
I
can,
think I've
from what I'm understanding what she's saying, I can somewhat regurgitate what I'm posting on the other platforms.
1,000%.
So I'm going to, the ice cream video yesterday, you're going to see it on my Google. If I'm going to take the office video today, see if they'll pass it. But just make sure, like, put that up. Why not? It's the same
you can
thing.
put a video, put a link back. If you wrote a blog, put a link back to your blog. You know, you want more information about staging your home in Dallas, Georgia. You want more information about schools in Dallas, Georgia. Like, I already have that on there. So we just link it back. You can have them call you, use a calendar invite. They can schedule time with you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, and like I said, if you sat down for a couple hours, you could probably schedule your a whole month out. And don't get, okay, and if every day freaks you out, do 3 a week. It's probably way more than any other agent in your area is doing. So I
I'm sure
teach this class all the time. Like, I teach this to agents in my market, and not a single one of them is doing it. And I feel like they get like, oh, I can't do that. Well, guess what? Yeah, you can. I'm not doing anything crazy. Like I told you, ChatGPT is writing my blog. I don't write it. Like, if you can't type in a prompt and let it and then post it on there with one photo, like it writes my meta description, my keywords. I'm not doing any of that. I used to before all this technology came into play. Man, and then like I said, over time, you'll find that like if you wrote if you scheduled out 30 minutes 3 times a week and wrote to post it, do the Google My Business even if you did it for the week and did a couple blogs, I'm telling you, at the end of a year, you would outrank anybody else.
Are reviews still playing a huge part, Google reviews? So I know me personally, when I ask for reviews, I'm always pushing my Google page for the review. I know agents that ask for them on realtor.com or Zillow or things like that, but is that part of a ranking part of Google? It is.
Absolutely. You don't have to have a ton for it. It was something that I had to shift to. We all used to do Zillow, and then we realized they really weren't our friend. I mean, let's be honest. They're they are a business, and they let us play in their business. They do not support us, and they are not your friend. And people are very misguided in what they think it does for you. And they have relied on it as a business tool. And I'm of the theory that you need your own tools. Every brokerage is amazing. I love where we're at. But at the end of the day, I also know there's some things that I'm never going to have a brokerage email again. I'm never going to I'm never going to have somebody else own my stuff. I'm just not. It's not smart, and it's just not smart business. And so I don't do that. And so that's where that Google is the only thing you'll get to kind of own for a review. And you still don't even own that.
Right.
If you think about it, I mean, Google owns it. They can shut you down. They can make you not show up. We got to be a little smarter. So I would tell you, put them on your website too. Put them in a blog, make use a scroller, whatever you can do. But yeah, they still rank you, and they're also keyword driven. So sometimes what makes you show up is what somebody wrote about you. Um,
That's great too, because when I send out my link for reviews, that would be, I didn't even think about them being keyword driven because I have in there, like, sometimes people don't know what to necessarily write. And I have, like, how did we meet? What was the best part? Like, those kinds of different, like, not necessarily prompts, but prompts of what to
Yeah, they
say.
kind of are. Yeah, we do the same
Yeah.
thing. And then they need to mention the city.
That's what I was just thinking. I don't have that in there. It's like where we purchased, where you were looking, because that would help a huge amount. And I never thought about that.
Yeah, I have prompts in mind, but I never thought to make sure they mention what city. That's a great note.
It does. And then, a lot of times they're like, oh, you're amazing and blah, blah, blah. But they don't also put in that you help them relocate, that you help them, you know, and then I would say too, I always get their permission, but I'm like, if I respond back and kind of say those things, if they don't, are they okay with it? And then my reply, because you always need to reply back, thanking them for the review and being a little more targeted. Most of my clients are more than happy to help me, and I'm not sharing like something messy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you had a divorce and, he ended up in jail. I'm not saying
Right.
that. You know what I mean? But, the good stuff, the stuff that, but it is, um, like even your pictures that you post, it can read your photos nowadays. So if you're doing a blog, you need to say the city in every single photo, right? Like if I'm talking about education, and I'm not going to say just education on my picture, I'm going to say in Dallas, Georgia, or Paulding County. Like it reads everything. It's Snoopy as all get out, right?
Isn't that scary?
Well, and you just mentioned replying to reviews. I've never done that. One, I can't because I'm not verified, so I've got to fix that today. But also, if I didn't have them put the location in there, I would put that in, or if they don't, I wonder if putting it in my reply would be helpful. Of like, it was lovely helping you in this neighborhood of Charlotte, North Carolina. Like, I'm so glad you
Or
relocated from New York. We're glad to have you in the Carolinas.
yes.
And the other city. So let's talk about that. So some of my blogs that work very well is if you're thinking of moving from Florida to Georgia, you might want to consider Dallas, Georgia. And that's my number one because more people move from, I went in and looked to see where they were moving from, and more people move from Florida to Georgia, believe it or not, than anywhere else. So that is one of my top ranking blogs. And it's things you might want to know. And it's got a section that's kind of like generic, Florida to Georgia. And then I dig down below that, why you'd want to move to my area. So that's blog content. That could be an Instagram reel, right? Or a post or carousel, or, you know what I mean? I feel like carousels aren't pulling up, but we know the short videos are. But I feel like that's the next step. If you're content driven, it'll show. And then I think too that people have to realize Instagram, the only people seeing that feed before now, right? Your actual feed, like they went to your page, was somebody that followed you, right? Or it got suggested, they had to love it to click into you. Now you're going to get served up in a way you never have to people that will see that content. But if I go into it, it's very targeted too. Even though I make tons of video content, it's only my hyper local stuff that pulls up in that. It knows short video. It will pull up like new construction out here. It pulls up that kind of stuff. It's very targeted. It's not going to show somebody singing and dancing unless you're looking up singing and dancing videos. It's not going to be your creative content. It's truly very, very targeted. So agents that aren't, making that content are going to miss out.
Yeah, you get those real leads like we were just talking about. You're not just getting people like, oh, that was a really cute dance move that she did. This is very highly convertible content.
Yes.
And we do have a couple more minutes here, but I know that you have an appointment after this, so I want to be respectful of your time as well. But what are some outdated or harmful SEO practices that you think agents should stop doing? And give us a couple of your favorite tools and platforms that you would recommend agents to use without outsourcing.
I don't know that there's something harmful. I just think they don't do it. It's just not on your radar. It's such a big concept, I think, in the past, and you did have to have somebody who knew how to do it. Now you can do it yourself. There's just so many tools. And then tools that I would say use, you need a good CRM that also has a website on the front end. So I have CR Interactive. They actually were built for the website. They started that way. They would build big websites for Remax and Coldwell Banker and the big companies in the old days. And the CRM evolved because technology came along and people wanted it to be built together. There's other platforms, obviously, that other people use, but mine indexes really well. So whatever you're going to use, you got to have something that you can build that front end out. And you don't have to be a genius in building it out. They all let you blog now. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's not and it's pretty simple on most of them. You need something like ChatGPT or, some kind of form of something that writes it quickly for you. And it'll tell you, like I said, the keywords and, all that kind of stuff. So you know how to optimize it. You don't have to know anymore. It'll do it. And then I would say use something like Publer, where you can post automatically and you're scheduling them because time blocking is going to be crucial. You're never going in every day and posting something to your Google My Business. And that's the cheapest one. There's other ones that are more expensive, but I mean, $6-7 investment, I feel like in your business a month, is an easy one. And really I use Canva. Those are the tools. I mean, and there's a free version of Canva. You don't even have to be fancy and have the paid. And most of us have a CRM and a website already. Even if you're a single agent, there's a lot of cheaper options. I know like with Real, people do Lofty, and that's a cheap option. It's like what, 40, 50 a month?
Yeah, I think it's 40. Yeah.
I mean, if you're an agent and you can't buy leads, right? You're not in that situation, but you're like, you know what? I will dedicate a couple of times a week, 30 minutes to an hour to grow my business. Everything I just told you is free other than your time, and a few little tools. So for less than $100 a month, you could, you could rank locally. Instagram's free. You know what I mean? Like, you got a phone. We make this hard and complicated sometimes. And we really do,
We
right?
do.
We talk
No,
about
and
this
I think
all the time. That's one of my favorite things that you just said is like, I mean, there's no bad thing that people can be doing SEO wise, which is great, but you're like the worst thing that they're doing is not doing it, which we talk about that in episodes that we're talking about any kind of marketing or like just do it. Like the worst thing you can do is set yourself back by not taking a step forward. And especially with like, oh, well, I have to pay this man $6,000 to optimize my Google. That's not the case. Like Lorraine has done this from scratch, from the ground up, and is generating these converting leads consistently. And yeah, I think that's my favorite thing because she's when we knew this with you coming in, like you're so on brand with us, just do it. We're not asking you for this big, flashy, expensive like investment. We're asking you to show up and do the work and see what comes from it.
Well, and I think that's like kind of our vibe anyway, is if we can, let's keep it low budget. Like, we don't need to be the Mark Spains, and everyone's success looks different. So if we can be successful and reach our goals without spending $500,000 a year on marketing, then let's figure out how to do that. There's no need to spend so much money.
I find the stuff that's free is the things that people don't do in our business, as weird as that sounds. I teach some different classes, and somebody will be like, And I have some paid tools. I definitely do. But then they'll come to me and I'm like, there's a free version of this. Use the free version. Okay, it doesn't play a video in the background. It has a static photo. You don't need the video. Nobody cares. I wanted it for this one other tool, but if you just need it, there's a way to make a link in your bio that's free. Linktree, Canva has a link. You know what I mean? There's all this stuff out there that's free. The stuff that, like I said, you're already paying for your cell phone. Everybody thinks you got to have a fancy camera. We shoot almost, other than my listing videos, we shoot everything with our phones. It's showing up and it's truly being authentic. A lot of people don't love flashy, high end. They want to know somebody cares about them. They want to know somebody's going to show up for them. They want to know you're real, right? They want to know that you're going to take care of them. At the end of the day, I know we say we sell houses. We actually are problem solvers and we help people. And the crazy thing is the people that come to me through my SEO, they're looking for a solution. They're looking for some education. They're looking for something that they need. And that's what you provide to them. And so they feel like they can trust you because they think I'm knowledgeable. I don't sell the most houses in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like, that's not who I am. But I do really good business. I probably help 25 to 35 families a year consistently at this stage. And they know that I'm going to help them. And that's what it's doing. It's, it's not anything other than they were looking for information and somebody who could help them problem solve, right? Nobody decides they're going to just sell their house today without a reason, right? Most people have something they need to get to, somewhere they need to go. They need more space. They need to downsize. They have something tragic in their lives. I have stuff on people who are 55 plus, or your parents have passed, and you need an agent that understands that intricate piece of what that's like. It's traumatic and it's hard. And so I answer those questions and they know that I'll be compassionate when I help them and I know how to do it. That's what I'm doing. It's
And
not
that's the biggest thing is that you know what you're talking about, which is the best.
Yes.
Um
That and you care.
the biggest pieces, and we talk about that all the time too. So Lorraine, we will have your website in the show notes for everybody so they can take a look at how you have that set up and optimized, of course, and give them the Google prompt of what you would like them to search so they can see how you rank. And then I think we'll be all done. We'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap it. This is awesome.
if they go in and search list my Dallas, Georgia home, they'll find me. Yeah, that'll be, you know what I mean, or sell my Dallas, Georgia home. Um, they'll be able to find my website and see how they can do it too. Absolutely can do it too.
Well, test it out with Google. Type in that prompt, you guys. If you can't, and I know you can because I've done it myself, I've tested it out, but her link will be in the show notes for everybody. So thank you so much, Lorraine, for taking your time today and sharing your SEO knowledge. And Alyssa, I think that's it. Are we done?
We are done. This was awesome. Thank you so much, Lorraine. I love you already, but I love you even more after this because I think this is going to give our listeners a ton of stuff. And I think the one tip I would give at the end of this is start with one thing, then come back to this episode and listen to the next thing Lorraine said to do. When we tell you this all the time, don't get overwhelmed and feel like you have to do it all at once. Oh my God, here's a new sparkly thing I have to do. If you don't have a Google Your Business page, maybe start there. If you don't have an email template asking for reviews, start there. And then as you're comfortable, build, and it will work with you. But don't get overwhelmed. It's not, you're good. You're good. But other than that, we will see y'all next week.
Bye, guys. We just finished another episode of Contracts and Chaos, but believe me, the chaos does not stop here. So check out the show notes for our email address and where to follow us on socials, and we will see you next week.